you rate his performance?
Well, I put in there that the city manager, I thought, given the level of leadership for the city of Fort Lauderdale, based on its history, it's had a lot of racial diversity and some other things especially during the 90s and some other, and some earlier years. The city of Fort Lauderdale has struggled with, quite a bit of issues with respect to just the cultural sensitivity of people. And so at this stage, I think not being in there to have really hands-on, only seeing what happens on the surface, then I think he's doing a fair job.
You go to a lot of commission meetings?
I go in and I listen. Over the last, I would say, 5 years, I'm in and out. Because what I find is that what I didn't like about the commission meetings is that they tend to have very little respect for one another, and they tend to have had not the kind of respect that I would like to see for the citizens.
I guess it made your voice known to the commission.
Oh, absolutely, I did. With respect to the
various issues that are on your mind.
Whatever issue.
Whatever issue you're on. I mean, that's one of your outlets. They have public input, etc.
Well, you have to understand the cultural sensitivity of what happens in the community. And a lot of times, when you have leadership that you want to make sure that they do what they need to do, oftentimes it's not good to have the divide and conquer mindset in order to achieve what you need to achieve. You try to work with it at the grassroots levels so that you get your understanding, so that that person who represents you take a concerted effort to go before the commission and do what needs to be done. A lot of times what is told to us at the level does not make it to the commission meeting. And it just doesn't look good to stand there and, make havoc, because what it does is you end up not accomplishing anything.
Have you ever been on any city boards or any advisory boards?
No. And that's been by design, because I spend my time with the people. I think that, I spent my time with the people because I researched communities over the last 10 years doing my dissertation research. So, I'm at the bridge, I'm at the local bars, I'm at the libraries. I'm where people are, under the tree, wherever it is. I've been doing that. And I think it was very important in doing that is because I think I truly understand where the mindset is with respect to how do you transcend a community unless you really know what is at the heart of the needs of what is needed for them to be a part of a participatory process. And so I think I understand that now, wherein maybe before I didn't, but I do now. But I've been recently appointed, though, to the Transportation Board for Warren County. Yes, by Commissioner Joe Edgerton.
Okay.
What did you think of Carlton Moore's performance?
I think Carlton did a moderate job, and I say that with all respect because it's difficult. It's a difficult job in dealing with poverty issues. You can tend to get very disheartened in the process when you deal with people who are marginalized. It becomes a heart-staking situation. You put out a lot of effort, and what you think that you ought to get back in return does not always show. So what happens is that you become hardened to the process. But I say you don't remain in the seat, you leave. You've got to allow for new energy to come, because it's very difficult in managing people who have been disenfranchised over many, many years. So, and due respect to Carlton, I'm going to say I think he did the best that he could do given the circumstances, but I think it's time for leadership to take on a new role in terms of bringing innovative ideas that requires some textbook knowledge as well as some on-the-street knowledge in order to be able to put the puzzle together in order to begin a process of planning. We just really lacked the planning. It was just too much hodgepodge in the process. So we need sound plan, and they may already have some sound plans there, I don't know to all the full extent, but there may be some there. But they have to make sense, and they have to make economic sense for the people so that they don't be displaced like they were during the annexation process, like Cityview. Some of my relatives, their homes were sold, but they were sold at market value. But they were told that they were going to be able to move back in those communities. Today, that doesn't exist. Cityview is not even in the district. So you see, you have to be fair to people. You have to just be transparent and honest with people. And if it is your intent to displace them, then be honest and say, I'm trying to displace you, but this is what we're going to do for you. But in the meanwhile, you need to try to keep people in place and try to build around what it is that represents community with respect to the growth that you want to happen for the city.
Do you know your opponents very well? What's your take on them?
I only know them through seeing them in the election and seeing them around town. But they all seem to be great people. My greatest concern is whoever takes the seat needs to be prepared to move us beyond just the bricks and mortar. We are got to begin to look at the caring and sharing for people. I think too much time has been spent over the last 10 years worrying about what building is going to go up, with regards not to the indigenous people who have already been there. Growth, too much attention. 6th Street is fine, but 6th Street is not the only place that's in the district. We've annexed in the Rock Island. You have Melrose Park. You have some of these other areas that also need some attention. So I think that some of the attention needs to be placed on that. And with respect to what I do, I guess, or have done, and looking at the center of the heart of that. When you really look over the last 10 years, I see a great part of home ownership was given up to annexation and also to building municipal buildings. The other half was given to commercial and industrial. So pretty much what's remaining, at least for the core of the inner city, is projects. Last time I checked, they're not homeowners. So when the people decide that somehow those projects are going to be gone, where are they going? What are we going to do with them? I mean, there has to be some serious answers because most of the other parts of District 3 are landlocked. I mean, there's a land use issue there. There's no, where they're going? So we've just got to have some seriousness about growth and development, yes, but where you're going to put people, where they're going to be so that they too can participate in the process. So that's a major concern for me with respect to what I already see that exists, because some of those things that used to be District 3 are no longer District 3. They're sitting with condos at $150,000 to $300,000, and the average person that's there does not live there anymore. And what happened to the Sweden Estates and some of those other areas that had beautiful land marshes and all of those as a kid, I used to go there myself. And I'm saying, you look around and you just have to shake your head and say, come on, you got to be fair. Let's put something there that the people will be able to enjoy for a lifetime, that they can attract tourism to also come in a built community as well that can partake, and then start paying its share of taxes to the city, because a large part of that is behind the economic basis that they don't, because they don't make the incomes to do that. So, there is that story, and it's a story on the other side, and making them understand some of that concept of what needs to be done, because this whole idea of entitlement has to be brought to some attention too. We just got too many poverty pimps out there. I mean, they wait to prey on the poverty of the people that's there too. So we got a balance that we've got to make, and I'm hoping that as candidate, I can bring some of those real issues to the table without being the radical.